And we are back. Welcome back to this time, chapter 368 of the Rule of the Galaxy podcast. D-Doc and I are coming back at you live. This is Joe in the pilot seat. We had a great conversation recently. We didn't catch up on Mando and Grogu that much. So here on chapter 368 of the Rule of the Galaxy podcast, we're going to talk a little bit about that and a few other topics that we've got prepped and ready to go. But hey, D-Doc, I forgot to ask you in the last episode, you have two children born on Friday the 13th now, correct?
Yes.
Man, it's a
Yeah.
shame that one of them wasn't a boy that you could call him Jason.
I know.
That would have been
I
or was
have a
it? Yeah.
picture. I have a picture of when Addison was born, which she was born May 13th, which I thought if she came early, she could be my May the 4th baby, but that would have been a little too early. I have a picture because I was looking back on it in my phone where we're in the I forget the name that they call after you're done having the baby in the delivery room, and then you go up and then you're just hanging out for 2 days in the room and they're just monitoring you. But I have a picture of Friday the 13th on TV with Jason on TV, and you can see the little they have the prototypical baby cart that they have at the hospitals where you
Oh
can
yeah.
see the baby cart underneath it. I had it on because my wife. Now, I flubbed up the story because I was telling all the nurses this was almost our third Friday the 13th baby in a row because Harper was born on the 12th.
Okay.
It was not a Thursday the 12th, though. My wife didn't want her to have her birthday on Friday the 13th. It was like a Wednesday the 12th.
Okay.
So I was accidentally not being truthful with that one. I swore because I remember my wife was talking about Friday the 13th. But my previous child, Addison, she was born on Friday the 13th, and Mackenzie was now too. So it's, I looked up the odds. They say for you to have two kids born on a Friday the 13th, it's like a 1 in 45,000 chance.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Well, I don't have any on Friday the 13th. We have Brent, obviously, who's part of the show, who is a leap year baby. So Brent only gets to really celebrate his birthday every 4 years, I guess. And then my grandson, little Teddy, his mom, my daughter, doesn't like really anything to do with Halloween except for making it fun and pumpkins and decorating. She had Teddy on October 31st, Halloween baby. So he now gets to celebrate the rest of his life on Halloween and not only trick or treat, but also have a birthday party. So that's kind of fun for him. Yeah, it's good. And sometimes you get what you wish for, and sometimes you don't. So
What's going on, Jackson Burden?
Jackson Burden saying hello. Nice to meet you, Jackson. Jakson. Nice. Okay. So we didn't talk much about Mando and Grogu. And I will say one of the things about Mando and Grogu that really came up recently that stuck with me was what Scott Rifen said to me. He said, I look at Mando and Grogu like a Big Mac. You enjoy a Big Mac. Everybody knows what they're going to get with a Big Mac. It sells billions of Big Macs all the time, but he's not expecting it to be filet mignon, right? I mean, millions of people all over the world love Big Macs. And I think we all agree that Mando and Grogu, one, it's going to be fun to be back in the seat of a theater and watching a Star Wars movie. And two, it's just fun because we know we're going to get out of it. We're going to get action, comedy, a father-son / cop, buddy cop movie all wrapped into one. And it also takes time and it takes place in a familiar era of Star Wars right after Return of the Jedi. So I think we're all looking towards something coming out, and we think the level is going to be where we need it to be. Would you agree with that? Or
Yeah. That's actually a great that's great on Scott Rifen's end, where it's like I'm not going there expecting it to. I just want to have fun with Star Wars again in a movie theater, and I think that this movie is going to give that to
Yep.
me. It's gonna give you fun, adventure, and things I haven't seen before in Star Wars, and I want the quality to be there. So, and I think it's going to give all of those. I mean, the trailer that they just showed that I saw the other night during March Madness, it had this voiceover of
Mhm.
Pedro Pascal talking about like, what they're going to be up against. There's going to be monsters, there's going to be gangsters, there's going to be all this stuff. So it's kind of just laying out to you that there's going to be this adventure full
Right.
of monsters, gangsters, bad guys, peril, all these things, and it'll be fun. That's what it's supposed to be. I mean,
Yeah.
my son saw it and he was just like, that looks awesome. So
I think it's also exactly what you just said. It's a thing where me as a grandfather, I can not only see if my kid or my kids want to go, but also my grandson's 3. I mean, I don't think it's going to be so scary or bad that he might not enjoy it, right? It looks fun for kids 3, 4, 5, up to 10, to maybe bring them into some more Star Wars, and it'll be the first time they really see Star Wars in a theater.
yeah.
So, yeah.
Jackson, you aren't Luke's father.
I love the
comment
chat.
comment section's having some fun right now. Chat's
They
having
are.
some fun.
They
I like
are.
it.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to it. I'm not. Alfie has said it all along that the Mando universe was going to be like the MCU, right? And bring in some of these different things from Skeleton Crew or Ahsoka or Mando that's all going on at the same time. I'm okay with it, and let's see where this movie goes. And if it's successful, if it brings people and puts butts in the seats, maybe there will be more of those in the future. I don't know, but I think it's a good, easy way to start because Mando and Grogu really stole the hearts of kind of the fandom out there for a few years, especially during the COVID time frame. And maybe we can keep that momentum going forward.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we're both Catholics here, so it's like this is a good Star Wars baptism movie.
Oh, I
You know what
like
I
that.
mean? This
Yeah.
is see, I took my son to see Rogue One as a Star Wars baptism in theaters, which might have not been the best one to see because everybody dies in it. Spoiler alert for the chat. I'm sorry. But I think it can bring new audiences into this new era of Star Wars to just have fun with it. As long and the people on the internet who might be like, oh, it's you just want action and thoughtless whatever and blah blah blah, and Andor writing is the peak of everything. You can enjoy both things.
You can.
You can it's like the pizza analogy that you've gone to. So I think it's going to be good, and it's going to be a good one to bring the kids to, and for it to be their first Star Wars movie. So
I agree.
Is Joey going to bring the little guy to it, do you think?
I think what we'll probably do is go see it with anybody here in town that wants to meet up and us get together and go see it. Joey, my wife, others, Alfie, Brent, all that. And if he feels like it's fun loving enough, then yeah, then that weekend he'll, pardon me, get Frankie out there to go check it out. So by that time, Frankie will be almost 4. So I think unless something really bad's in it that he catches the first time around, I think he'll take him to see it.
Yeah.
He's got Frankie watching the Star Wars movies at home. So
Yeah.
yeah, here we go. We got I definitely need to put some money on Disney and watch all the Star Wars series I didn't see yet. There are plenty of good things out there. I think the two of us would probably vote that you don't need. You could bypass Acolyte if you want to. You don't have to watch it, but a lot of the other stuff is really good, and even the stuff that's not really good, there's good things in it. So, yes,
Yeah.
Disney's a good choice.
It's funny because and I'm slightly going off the rails here, but it's like on that topic of the different types of Star Wars that there are out there. It's like when I got my 3D printer, the first thing I was looking for is like, I want to print a clone trooper,
Mhm.
and I'm just like, I don't know why, but that's what I'm looking at. And it's like, it's funny to think of the things that I'm naturally searching that like, I'm like, I want to print out a B-1 battle droid. I want to
Right.
print out an N1 starfighter. And it's like a lot of prequel stuff where it's like, I also want to print out a Y-wing or a TIE fighter or an X-wing or whatever, but it's like, it was kind of one of those things where I like self-checked myself and I'm like, it's funny that those are the first things that I'm like are on my mind, where it was like Clone Trooper was like the first thing I went to. Dude, Joe,
It's cool.
there's a great Y-wing on there that I want to print out and get out to you, cuz what I want to do is I want to print something for you, for Alfie, and for Brent, and just send it in one box to you guys.
I like it.
And that way you can just distribute it. Look at that.
Well, yeah. So for those of you watching on YouTube, my wife was kind enough to buy me this old 1983 Kinner Y Wing, but it only had the body. It only had the middle section right here. And I found a guy who did the 3D printing of the engines and everything here at the back. And they came in just white plastic. So it looked really weird and they didn't fit properly. And I gave it to Brent and I said, Brent, you're a great painter. For those of you who don't know or new to the show, Brent is great with uh, Star Wars Legion and different games like that. So he hand paints everything. So he took this old beat up Y Wing that I had and he's put battle scars on it. He painted all the back of it to look like the engines were burning or had been burnt. So I know it's not good. I'll shoot a video of it here this weekend and I'll put it out on YouTube as a short, but it looks like a battle scarred Y Wing now. Only thing I need to get now is the cannon. So either you or Joe or J Doc, if you want to print up a 3D Kenner cannon for a Y Wing, but this thing, it just blows me away where it came from to what it is now. It
It looks
looks,
amazing. He did an
yeah,
amazing job on it.
he did. Brent's the best with that stuff. So, oh, and Dr. Squatch sent you something there. Oh yeah, D-Doc. Yeah, he's a 3D printer. Questions for D-Doc. How you liking it? How's it been going? Pumped to see you got one. I'm pumped that you, J-Doc, and Brent are all connected to me with your 3D printers and the painting. I'm feeling pretty good about this.
Having a 3D printer is a blessing and a curse for someone like me, where it's like sometimes at nighttime it's hard to shut my brain off if I'm looking for something to print, or if I start a print and I want to make sure that it's going all right, like before you go to sleep. It's like when I first, now this was David's gift, but now we decided to be like, we're gonna add some birthday gifts, and the printer is kind of like a family thing, because I've printed stuff for the girls. My daughter has painted some of the things, but it's like, here's a Anakin that I printed in like Clone Wars style,
Oh
which
yeah.
I didn't do any painting on that yet, and I was an amateur when I painted this, so I didn't support his lightsaber properly. So he just only has the hilt because the lightsaber broke off of it. But it's just like, the crazy thing is you can sit there on these sites like Maker World or Thingiverse or whatever, and it's just like you could think of anything and just type it in, and there's usually like 5 models of it.
Wow.
Where it's just like, which one do you want to choose? There's an M1 Starfighter that I'm going to start printing tonight, and the model looks awesome, and you piece it together. But my wife, it's like, I just printed this board game for like the family to play, where
Yeah.
that was like a 24-hour process, where it was like switching the filaments, doing all these different colors and everything. She's like, see, I like the 3D printer for this. I don't like it for you printing stupid things to put on shelves. I'm like, they're not stupid. They're collectibles.
That's right. To each their own. To
Yeah.
each their own. Well, good. So I think we're both thumbs up on Maul. We're excited for that. We're excited to talk about it every week, which I think we'll talk about it probably if it's coming out on Mondays, which I think it is. We'll either Tuesday or Wednesday do our shows to do the follow up and the reaction. And then at the end of May, Mando and Grogu. I think we're both pumped. Well, all of our whole group is pumped about that. And I think we'll have plenty of reaction and talk and excitement as we get closer to that. So looking forward to that time frame. And it's always fun when you have more content and more things to cover. It's tough to sometimes do a Star Wars show when there's nothing Star Wars going on. So I read something the other day. I wanted to throw this by you. Have you done much with the Clone Wars? Have you watched all or most of the Clone Wars?
I did, but I when I watched Clone Wars, it was when I first started listening to you guys. So
Okay.
if you essentially go back to how long I've been on this podcast, that's the last time when I first started, which
Yeah.
I think we're going on probably like 4 years almost now, at least,
Um,
that I've been on the show. 4 years? 3,
yeah.
4 years 3, 4 years about?
I want to say it was May 2021
Yeah.
when
So,
we
5 years,
yeah.
which is crazy.
Yes.
But
Yes, it is.
yeah, so it's been 5 years, and I've been feeling the pull to watch it again, honestly.
I think I'm gonna jump in and do it in the chronological way. They've got that online where you can see which episode to follow, watch and everything in a row to make it make sense. So I'll probably do that myself. At lunch, nighttime, all that kind of stuff. But there was an article that said 7 ways that Clone Wars fixed the prequels. So I thought this was interesting. I'm just going to read through these 7 ways and see if any of them stood out or didn't stand out. One, showing the Clone Wars in more detail, because if not, all we basically had was, oh, it's the Clone Wars, and then you see Order 66, and you're kind of done with that in the movies. The what Bail Organa punching his fist into the ground when they all take off at the end of Attack of the Clones. Two, the portrayal of Anakin, because I think it does show his turn a lot more in the Clone Wars. Humanizing the clones. Number 3, I agreed with you on that because we only saw Cody's face, I think, in the movies. Bringing back Darth Maul, very true. That happened in the Clone Wars. Fleshing out General Grievous, I like that. Deepening the relationship between Anakin and Obi-Wan Kenobi. Yep. And then exploring the Chosen One prophecy on Mortis. I like all those things as far as fixing the prequels, or not fixing, but improving, I would say. I think
Yeah.
all those things improve the prequels by having that happen in the Clone Wars series.
Yeah. And it almost goes into like what we've said on the last episode where we were talking about the Harry Potter show that's coming out versus the Harry Potter movies. It's going to be interesting to see the Clone Wars version of Harry Potter, where you're gonna get that, you're gonna get all of those extra details and character development that you can't get in a 2-hour movie.
Yes.
So I mean, it's a hell of a task that they're undertaking since it's live action. I mean, I could never imagine signing my kid up to be like, hey, you're doing this for the next like 10 years, lock in, but you're going to be rich when it's done.
They got to really focus and keep them, because you don't want it to be like Stranger Things where the kids are 30 by the time the seasons are being done, right? I mean, they got to zoom through them.
Yeah, but all those points that they hit on for Clone Wars, they're all dead on.
They are.
It really expanded my appreciation for the prequels, which I grew up on, but it made me enjoy them even more and made me more of a fan of Anakin Skywalker. Like it really put like Revenge of the Sith Anakin into like my extremely top tier of Star Wars characters. And they perfectly built off of the characters from them. So they just felt hand in hand. It felt real.
Well, and what I liked is, it even goes all the way to, we're talking about the new Maul series coming out. They bring back Maul in here and make it a totally different storyline of where he goes from being cut in half in the Phantom Menace. You're thinking that's it, to now you've got all these storylines that have happened with Maul since then. So that's pretty cool. And then also looking at when Obi-Wan Kenobi was talking to Luke in A New Hope, and he says, he's a best starfighter in the, star pilot in the galaxy or whatever, and a good friend, and you really get to see that. You saw some of it in the movies, but it was so brief and quick and everything like that. But you really saw it in the Clone Wars, how close they were, how much they interacted, all that. So I would agree with all those things. I think it hit a lot of good points. And I've said all along, if they want to save the sequels, if they want to make it to where the sequels are as important to Star Wars as the prequels now are, you need to do something like this in the sequel era.
Yeah. And it doesn't require, I mean, if it's a perfect example, they casted Matt Lanner
Mm-hmm.
and all these
James Arnold
people,
Taylor. Yep.
yeah, all these voice actors and actresses that did such a service to the original characters, where they go hand in hand. I mean, it just makes watching Revenge of the Sith hurt even more every time when you have this much more background to it with the Clone Wars. So,
And for those of you out there who go on YouTube a lot, which I do, if you really want to just get hit in the gut, there's some people who've edited together the last 4 episodes of season 7 of the Clone Wars with Revenge of the Sith. Whoa. I mean, when you put all that together and you flip from one scene to the next, there's some really hard hitting stuff in there. It really gets you, and it does. It makes that whole, even though Revenge of the Sith was great already, it takes it to another level mixing all that together.
yeah, absolutely.
I think it would be great if somebody made some physical media of that blended together to where we could just, have that on hand.
You might be able to get it from whatever store you got.
Walmart.
You were innocent.
Pirated stuff from Walmart.
You were innocent because you did order it from Walmart.com.
I did.
I remember that.
Gosh, that was the freakiest thing. I was like, "What? I did what? I didn't mean to." Okay. Well, I'm Italian. Most of my family is probably in the mafia. So, so the other day I threw out there and I said, "Hey, anybody want to give me their 10 favorite female characters in Star Wars?" And so I'm going to go through my list. I've got Alfie's list. And then I'll have you follow through on yours. And then if anybody wants to email us at rulegalaxysw@gmail.com or comment in the sections here or DM us or, after the show, make comments, that's fine. So my 10, Ahsoka, Asajj Ventress, Princess Leia, Mara Jade, Hera Syndulla, Jaina Solo, Cara Dune, Padme, Duchess Satine, and Mon Mothma. And the next person I had on the list that I didn't get, that didn't fit in there, was Bo-Katan. So that was pretty good. But then Alfie came through, and I've got his text right here because I wanted to make sure I read it tonight while we were doing this. Let's see. So his were Princess Leia, Mara Jade, Jaina Solo, Cara Dune, Lumaya, Shira, Padme, Hera, Asajj, Winter, Jyn Erso, and Clea. And that's a pretty good list too, because I like Jyn Erso. She just didn't make my list. And Clea, I mean, she was so good in the Andor series. So those weren't on there. Now, Lumaya was from the comics and the books. I think Shira was her name before she became Lumaya, but she was in the comics as well. So listening to all that, because you forget a lot of different characters. There was great characters who didn't make the list. It should be probably on one of our lists. But do you have a top 10 or so that you would look at, D-Dot?
Yeah, I saw that text earlier today, and I was like, for me, it goes Leia, and it's like this goes into my bias with live action, which Brent relates to.
Yeah,
I had right away in my mind it was like Leia, Jyn Erso, number 2 for me.
Yeah,
and I would probably. See, top 10 is hard for me. That's where you guys are another level. That's where you guys are another level of Star Wars for me, because I would probably go like Leia, Jyn Erso, Padme. My mind like immediately goes to live action. But Ahsoka is an amazing character, so Ahsoka would be number 3 actually for me too. So I'll do my top 3. It'll be Leia, Jyn Erso, and Ahsoka as my top 3.
Gotcha.
You guys are putting out names that I've never even heard of before. I'm just being honest.
we're really nerds to the next level, D-Dot.
Cara Dune would be on that. Like, I know a lot of the names, but there were some I've never heard before. But like when it comes to like comics, and I don't know Jaina Solo's story at all.
Yeah,
like I know of the character, but I don't know her story at all.
You'd have to really read the books. It's all over the place. But for the 1990s and early 2000s, Jaina Solo was way up there, and then Mara Jade and uh, uh, Winter, which was the aide to Princess Leia, and she could remember anything. So she had a photographic memory. So she used her kind of like a spy in everything she did in these books. So they'd go have a conference with all these people. She'd come back, and Winter would be like, "This person said this person said that." Boom, 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 and it was wild. But she was a great character. Alfie pulled that one out. I completely forgot about her. But
Oh, Ray. Was Ray on anyone's list?
Ray was not on either one of our top 10 lists.
I just thought of Ray. Like, that's actually like kind of bad on my end. I was like, oh yeah.
Captain Phasma could be. I mean, you got Phasma. You've got what's her name? Maz Kanata.
Rose Tico.
Rose Tico. You got all kinds of things in there. So, but yes, nobody put Admiral Holdo either. So she was not on the list. But for those who are listening, who listen to the podcast or watching us on YouTube, we'd like to hear your list. Put that together. I'd like to hear what you have to say on that. So let's see. I had one more list.
Jyn Erso is almost my number one. She's one of my favorite female Star Wars characters, and I'm just so biased towards Rogue One. So I know it's like there's a lot more of Ahsoka and Leia out there, but it's like I'm just a big Jyn Erso fan.
Well, and there was a lot of good female characters. Bix in Andor, she was a great character. So I mean, there's a lot of good characters that get left out. I think if we sat down and took votes, it'd be very interesting to see what actually would come of the list. Like if we said, okay, take books, comics, movies, live action, and animated, boom, make your top 10 list. I bet you would be really surprised at who ended up where.
Yeah.
So one other one that I saw that I thought it was interesting, and I wanted to get your opinion on it. Somebody Screen Rant, which by the way, I could give credit to where credit's due. The Clone Wars thing I brought up, about 7 Clone Wars things, that was from comicbook.com. And then this one is from Screen Rant. Just another place that I read a lot of articles from them and everything. But 6 reasons why Disney's Star Wars is better than George Lucas's Star Wars. 6 reasons, yeah. Number 6, Disney Star Wars is more coherent than George Lucas's Star Wars. And I would say they're doing a really good job. They're trying to do that really good job with the story team, trying to keep everything, all put together. So more diverse. And, being a child of the 70s, I mean, yeah, I've read Billy D. Williams' book, and we've met Ula, Femi Taylor, and I remember her saying that Billy D came up to her and said, I knew there was another person of color in this group, because let's face it, most of the first original trilogy was not very diverse. Let's see. Animated started under George Lucas, but it was taken to the next level by Disney. I mean, Rebels, yes. The Tales of stuff, yes. Maul is coming out now. Bad Batch. So, Clone Wars was the original, so that's the only thing he was involved with, was those original parts of Clone Wars. So, let's see. Live action TV is a major win. I would agree. There wasn't any live action TV when George Lucas was running it. It says it now has room to explore new genres. And I think we've seen that with Disney Star Wars. Wouldn't you agree? I mean, we've got a little bit of everything as far as genres, and then not afraid to explore the vast timeline. So any of those stand out to you as points that are good, bad, and different? I mean, I just thought it was interesting read, because I think George Lucas did a pretty good job with the original trilogy, the prequels, the animated series. All that stuff was well done all the way across the board. Sure, little flaws here or there, but to say that Disney has done it better than him, I don't 100% agree. There are points that they've done better, but I don't think Disney Star Wars has done it better than George Lucas Star Wars.
No, it's like comparing. It's just times change and formats change, and this format that we have now with streaming and with Disney Plus and with the budgets that they're able to throw into these, they didn't exist when he was doing it. So,
Yeah,
you know, what would a live action Star Wars show have looked like in the 80s?
probably pretty bad.
Yeah. Yeah, it probably would have looked like every episode would have looked like the Christmas special, probably budget wise.
Yeah.
So, like, you're able with technology and Disney being a multi-billion-dollar company or trillion, probably. It's it's just two different. It's just two different things. It's like comparing like old NFL players in leather helmets
Oof.
to NFL
Yeah.
players now. It's just two different games. But you wouldn't have the game you have today if those
Yep.
guys didn't play it back then. So
I agree.
it's hard for me to hear someone say like this is better than what George Lucas did when he invented it. We wouldn't have what we have today if he didn't create it. So
Yeah.
it's like I just have to always give credit to where something was created. Are we getting more content now? Yeah. Sometimes to the detriment of it, where things might not be as thought out. But what I wouldn't trade it for anything. I love that we're getting it. So
Yeah. I think there's points. I mean, when they say it's more coherent, well, back then you had George and a few other people that he confided in to help put together the storyline and where it was going, and he wrote it out himself, right? Like, here's my outline of what I want to see and what I want to do. Now you've got groups of people all working together to try to bring a coherent storyline together. But George was always very big on canon. There were just different levels of canon because he was also trying to make money. So, some things he didn't see as true canon and others he really did. I'm not even going to touch on the more diverse thing. I'm a white guy who lives in the Midwest. I have no right to say anything about diversity. I mean, I don't, um, animated. I would say if George would have kept making animation the way Clone Wars was improving every season they were having it, I think they'd be very similar to what he was doing, to what they're doing now. He would have taken it that level because George Lucas was always big, whether it was in movies or then in day animation, of taking it to the next level.
yeah.
So, live action TV, like we just talked about. I mean, we had kind of a spinoff of Battlestar Galactica and Buck Rogers. Those are things that we looked at as being Star Wars adjacent. Back in the 80s, it was like we can't have Star Wars on TV, but at least we have some science fiction shows, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know, the genre thing. I will say, George Lucas had an idea of what he wanted Star Wars to be. He wanted to be good versus evil. The good guys win. You there was always the big baddie out there. So George had the genre. It was like we said, he created his own genre. It's not sci-fi. It's not fantasy. It's a space opera. It's a soap opera in space, I guess. He created his own genre. But I see where they're saying on this, where Andor is completely different than watching Star Wars Resistance. There's different kinds of Star Wars out there for you, and there's different people who like those different genres. So I think they're probably right on that one. And the timeline thing, I don't know. I give him credit for saying I'm going to go back and build the prequel story based off this great trilogy that I created back in the 70s and early 80s.
Yeah.
That took guts to go back and do the prequel story. He could have just followed it up.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
Yeah, I don't know. Just an interesting thing that I thought, is this right? Is this wrong? And at least we can talk about it and see. So
You know, a thought that I just had while you were talking about this, which I feel like might semi hurt Star Wars animation when it comes to some of the things that they're saying as positives. Like, I think I think Star Wars animation would be benefited if we still had like the live TV format where it would be like
Oh,
Star Wars Mall is on at 4:30 on Wednesday afternoon when like the kids get home from school and they're just watching like because I remember watching the 2D Clone Wars
mm-hmm.
on Cartoon Network, and it's like kids pick and choose what they watch now, where it's
Yep.
like they need to go to Star Wars and choose to watch it. They need to go hit that button and choose to watch it. Where it's like some of the people who fell into it probably fell into it watching Cartoon Network or Disney or whatever when Clone Wars or Rebels was on.
Yeah.
And it might not have been something you were watching, but it was on when you had the TV on and it got you into it. So I do sometimes feel like the modern format, you gotta lead your kids into it, or you gotta tell people like, hey, you should check this out and see if they actually do it. Cause sometimes people get sick of being recommended what shows to watch because there's so much out there. But it's interesting. I mean, I really hope the mall show does well. So
I do too. And Dinak, I would agree with you because a big deal to me in the late 70s and early 80s was Saturday morning cartoons and then the rerun cartoons, like you said, when you got home from school. That
yeah,
you got home from school, you started doing your homework, and there's whatever shows going from 4 to 6, right? Before the news came on, there you had game shows during the day when you stayed home from sick from school. Soap operas and game shows, and then it switched to rerun cartoons all in the afternoon, and then Saturday morning you got the fresh new cartoons that were released just like TV shows. So I would agree with you, and maybe more and more people are getting away from regular TV in general. You know, ABC and Disney and all those, they're all connected. So why wouldn't local ABC stations say, "Oh, we've got all this, we've got hundreds of episodes of Star Wars cartoons. We could just drop them right in, right? And play them." I mean, I don't know. I don't know if kids are like that anymore. Thinking that makes me think of another thing on this where they say that 6 reasons that Disney Star Wars is better than George Lucas Star Wars. I can tell them the first reason that it's not better is they don't give you the kind of toys that you had back when George Lucas was running Star Wars.
yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
I know plenty of little kids who still play with toys, and everybody tells me they don't. They all play with tablets and phones and want to watch YouTube, and that's great. But I think if you were putting the right stuff out at the right price and making it, you know, fun for kids, that's something that's really going away. It's guys like us who are really buying toys now.
Yeah.
So
which which 2 points on that. It depends on how you put toys in front of your kids and if you're willing to, give them a nudge on that imagination, because then they can just take it. Like my girls, they will just play and play with toys. Like
yep,
they will just go. And my son, he would too, but he's getting a little older now where it's like he is more interested in the video games. We've managed to go tablet free. Like I've said before, the tablets only show up when we're going on a plane, and then they're gone after that.
nice.
But the TVs are still there. But kids like to do things where they're playing with something still. Like that
Yeah,
3D board, that 3D printed board game I have, my kids can't get enough of it. They think it's the best thing ever. They think it's so cool. They want to play it. So like kids want to play with things still. And when it comes to the toys still in general, collection wise, they could put so much more out, even if we are the target audience, even if
mm-hmm.
you are aiming for the collectors, because we're gonna buy it. I mean, look at the collector's series of what they do with Lego. You're
Yep.
gonna buy it. So you could do so much more with it. I Black Series to me has just gone so far down where it's like I never see anything new in it. it's never on the shelves. Black Series is something I like to buy in person.
And
like
now it's you got to order it for the most part, unless you luck into finding the right thing on the shelf. Yeah.
Yeah. Where it's like I go to Target and it's pretty much been all that's been there for months now is A New Hope Darth Vader and Director Krennic. That's like all that's been in my Star
Yeah.
Wars section. And then they have like the younger kids' toys, which I'm happy that they're making those, where it's like these little like the ones with like launchers on them and everything.
Yeah.
And they have that like micro series, but no, I mean it could be so much better. I'm really hoping we start to see some big displays for Mando and Grogu show up in stores. I know
I,
there's first
I see
editions.
people. Yeah, I see people posting them. I haven't seen them yet.
I know. Like, I'm like, does wherever Yak Face live? Is that like the first? Is that like the first store that actually like puts a display out? Because
Right.
I rarely ever see anything like that. And
No.
I don't know if they just only put it in certain stores or what, but it should be everywhere. And I blame a part of me blames that. Like I sent you those. I sent you guys a picture of those Harry Potter figures from that company that's called
Mm-hmm.
like NECA or whatever. They put out some really nice figures because they will make like horror genre figures, like a bunch of different things. And I don't know what umbrella that company's under, if they're just their own company, but they make some really nice figures. They put some awesome boxes on them. I see McFarlane stock shelves and put a lot of stuff out all the time. And I'm just like, why does Hasbro have to be the way it is with Star Wars?
Yeah.
I see their Marvel Legends stuff on the opposite side of the aisle all the time.
Yep.
And there's nothing there for Star Wars. And I don't know if it's just because that's our fan base. And if something good shows up, it's wiped out immediately. But it shouldn't be that way. But
I can tell you, as soon as something goes on sale or gets clearanced, doesn't matter if it's Legos or Hasbro, it's just wiped.
yeah.
And once it's wiped, it takes them forever to refill it back up.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy. So, well, I'll tell you what. I know we finished chapter 367. Now we're in 368. Anything that we haven't covered that that you want to cover before we break it down for an evening here on Rule of the Galaxy?
Man, I've seen T-Bobs in Disney World right now, so I always get jealous when I see someone I know in Disney. So me and Meg have been kicking the tires on a future trip. I was telling her the other day, I'm like, we should just be in the vacation club at this point. It's been like the last 4 years, but we might go on another cruise again. That's kind of what we're locking into, is going on another Disney cruise. But Mackenzie needs to be 6 months old in order for us to go on one. So that wouldn't happen for a while later. But yeah, I hope T-Bob, friend of the show, is having a good time in Disney. He's been kind of documenting a little bit of it. So it's been fun to see that.
Yeah, I do love and see our friends, and I think Jason Hatfield's getting ready to go, or should be going to Universal here real soon. So he's going to go check it out, and he might go check out Galaxy's Edge while he's down there. So
it sounded like a lot of the rides for T-Bob at Epic Universe, that was he said pretty much it was like clockwork that every ride was breaking down while they were in line. So he was dealing with the kids while in line for that. So
that sucks.
Yeah. I've heard that about that park, that it's like, it's a good park, but it's like, you just got to hope that the rides are working. You know, you got to hope that the stuff is operating well.
Well, I wish him the best. I'll keep following him on there. You and I really knocked it out tonight. We covered a ton of stuff. I had 2 pages of notes and we covered all of them and hit a bunch of topics. Here's some things I'll say. 1, we're going to try to do a weekly show, 1 or 2 every week until Grogu, all the way time from Maul through Grogu. So be prepared for that, Rule of the Galaxy people. 2, at present, we're doing the Southern Rim once a month show, the Across the Space Whale Pond once a month show, and the Those Guys once a month show on top of our regular Rule of the Galaxy episodes. I'm sure D-Doc has already told me that he's going to look into doing some Lego show as well. So we'll have that on there. So those are all things coming. look, we've been doing this for a long time, 368 episodes. Like us, right? Like us, subscribe to us, follow us, all podcast platforms. Do that on YouTube as well. We could really use those numbers there. And then emails with thoughts, ideas, what we should do, what we shouldn't do, rulethegalaxysw@gmail.com. Next week, Brent and Alfie will be back around. You've already got me and D-Doc. D-Doc, anything last minute you want to hit before we take off?
No, I'm excited for this run we're about to go on. I think it's going to be an all-time Rule the Galaxy run. We know all the people who have been with us from the beginning. I think this is, I think timing wise, we're going to hit a little bit of a stride right now. I feel good about it. We got the right guy in the pilot seat and Joe for it. I want to do what you were talking about, where we have a topic line going down the side. I'm going to research that so we can make it a little more fun for the YouTube viewers. We want to. We have the cool visual of like going into hyperspace, and we got our logo, but we want to continue to expand on making the technology better. And I do think it would be cool if we had some kind of topic line for the next thing we're going to hit, almost like a
ticker, a showrunner. Yeah, we can do that. And Jedi Connor, thanks for hopping in. Super excited for all the upcoming stuff. Thank you, Jedi O'Connor. Or Jedi Connor, sorry, not O'Connor. We're going to keep adding. We're going to do things. We're going to make it better. So we're really just trying to take it to the next level. We've been doing it for so long. We want to keep spicing it up, and we got a lot of good things in front of us. One, hopefully see some of you Memorial Day weekend Indy around the 500. Ryan McGee, friend of the show, has already promised we're going to do a live show with him. Look at that. Going Birds. Look at you. Clicked it. I clicked it at the same time.
We just did it again.
Go Birds. So we're going to have a show with him around the 500. I'm sure Hatfield and Joey will all be involved. D-Doc, I know you got a baby, so don't worry about that one. But again, let's try to see if any Rule of the Galaxy followers, listeners, everything, look at Steel City Con in August. And then we've got a whole year to start planning Star Wars Celebration next year in LA, and it ought to be a fun one. Lots of drinks involved. I have a feeling on that. So D-Doc, keep enjoying the baseball stuff. Everybody, thanks for joining and being a part of the show. I got to take off and go see the Cubs opening day at Wrigley Field tomorrow. So that'll be fun.
Opening baseball, baby.
That's right. And until next time, may the force be with you.